Good morning. This is Mike Houston with your Thursday morning weather hazard briefing for southeast Idaho. Looking at satellite imagery this morning, we have the remains of a low-pressure system here that should be clearing east through the region today and tonight. And with that, we should expect some thunderstorm activity across the region. Looking at regional radar loop this morning, we did have some showers and thunderstorms that were working through the eastern highlands early this morning. We should see this activity generally decrease through the remainder of the morning hours here, and then see some additional activity fire up as that low works through the region. I'll show that in the forecast graphics here in a moment. Looking at our 10-hour dead fuel moistures, we see some marginal conditions here in terms of dead fuel moistures across Idaho in the 5 to 6% range. Most of the extreme stuff is down into southern Nevada and the Four Corners region. Looking at our live fuel or fuel moisture samples across Idaho, we have a number of areas that still waiting to collect some samples. We are seeing some returns back here into the Magic Valley area where conditions are becoming critical, at least across the western Magic Valley. For the current time being, we're ignoring these autopilot populations of the fuel status in these areas until the dispatch centers can get those updated. The 24-hour or 12-hour precipitation that we saw basically from yesterday afternoon through this morning, the shaded areas are what radar depicts as the precipitation that we received, and the numbers are what was observed in OBS stations. So we're seeing anywhere from 500s to 1500s in precipitation across the region, most of it favoring the southeast highlands here over that 12-hour period yesterday afternoon and tonight. Looking at our first forecast chart for this morning, that low pressure center that was centered down here near southeast Oregon early this morning is now ejecting off to the north and east. We are going to see some precipitation across the Central Mountains and possibly across the southern highlands during the day today, mainly this afternoon and evening, which may impact some of our fireworks displays across the region. Temperatures remaining mild or unseasonably cool, I guess, for this time of year, with daytime highs generally running in the 70s here in the Snake River Plain, 60s in the Central Mountains, and mid-60s to mid-70s here in the southeast highlands. We will see a little bit of wind as that low-pressure system works through the region. I'm showing wind gusts here for this afternoon, generally in this 20 to 30 mile per hour range, most of it favoring the Mackey to INL region, Arco Desert here this afternoon, but certainly that's what we're expecting in the afternoon hours. If you get into the evening hours, it looks like most of the Snake River Plain, particularly out here across INL, should see some fairly decent wind gusts continuing into the evening hours, probably tapering off. Looks like probably sometime after sunset, 9 p.m., tapering off fairly rapidly into the later evening hours. Here we are looking at our forecast chart for Friday afternoon. That low pressure system now clearing well off to our east. Models showing generally dry conditions across the region. We may see a few lingering cells here along the Montana Divide, but I think for the most part we should be relatively dry on Friday. Looking further upstream, though, you see the next low pressure system taking shape here over Vancouver Island. If I were to advance this model a little bit, it would show quite a bit more precipitation into the evening hours here across the Salmon Chalice, so just keep that in mind. One of our other models was showing it, keeping it rather dry at this point. So I think with the low this distance away, I would think that things are going to be relatively dry at this time. Certainly with the nice southwesterly flow across the region, we should see warming temperatures on Friday. Here we are looking at readings in the upper 70s to mid-80s throughout the Snake River Plain, and generally in the mid-60s to mid-70s in the Central Mountains. Might see some of these valley locations climbing up into the 80s. And then if you get across the southeast highlands here, generally in the 70s. Looking at the forecast charts for Saturday, that low pressure system now drifting slowly south and east closer to Seattle. So we should see some ongoing diurnal or afternoon and evening shower activity, primarily across western Montana here Saturday and Sunday. I'm not going to rule anything out back here into the Salmon Chalice. I think you guys will be right on the fringe of probably seeing some sort of afternoon and evening thunderstorm activity going in through the weekend. Taking a look, skipping ahead here to Monday morning, that low now beginning to move east along the Canadian border here Sunday night and Monday. So we should see our best chance of precipitation and even some nocturnal thunderstorm activity here going into Monday morning and through the day on Monday as that low begins to work further east towards the Dakotas. You'll see some of the eastern highlands getting involved, but thunderstorm activity primarily confined to the mountainous areas of the central and eastern highlands. As that system pushes off to the east, we should see a reflection of stronger wind gusts across the region here on Monday afternoon. Here I am showing wind gusts of generally 20 to 30 miles per hour throughout the Snake River Plain and some of these higher elevations of the central and southeast highlands. By the time we get to Wednesday, I know yesterday the graphic that I showed had this ridge axis squarely over the Great Basin, and now you see that the model's kind of fluctuating. It has it east of the divide, and this next low-pressure system developing out here in the northeast Pacific is weighing a little heavier on our forecast. So we might not see these warming and drying conditions by midweek next week, but certainly something that we'll have to watch. That's all I had for you here this morning. If you had any comments or questions, you can go ahead and give us a call at the number on the screen. Thank you.